So it's Riyad Mahrez's birthday today. Let's talk about his crowning moment. Let's throw it back to the title-winning season at Leicester. How good was Riyad Mahrez, man?
First of all, this is my favorite player. Mahrez is my favorite player. As an Algerian whose family and friends is actually they live in the same place as me, Sarsen. This guy was my favorite player. And I got the proof as well, too. This guy right here, yeah? I even bought his shirt, man. Riyad Mahrez. Oh my God. What a season that 15-16 was. Because I need people to remember, 2 years before it, they got promoted. The year before, they were basically dead in the water. They were expected to get relegated. And you talk about the miracle of the title winning season. Then them staying up the year before was a miracle on its own. It was the great escape. But funnily enough, Mahrez didn't really feature that much in the team the year before. He wasn't like a huge favorite of Nigel Pearson, who was the manager. He preferred other guys. And Mahrez watched Leicester stay up mostly from the bench. But when Ranieri came in the next season, he looked at Mahrez and he looked at Vardy as two huge pillars of what his team would go on to do. And obviously that Leicester season is an absolute fairy tale. The Vardy record-breaking 11 goals in a row. N'Golo Kante putting his name on the map. Wes Morgan basically going from Nottingham Forest to the top of the Premier League as a captain. But in and amongst that, Riyad Mahrez put together a PFA Player of the Year campaign that I think is absolutely unforgettable, because Leicester were a lot of hard workers. They were direct. They played counterattacking. But he was the one that had a little bit of silk, a little bit of guile to him, the skills, the flicks. That goal against Chelsea that basically got Jose Mourinho fired when he brings it down, twists Azpilicueta in and out, and then bends it past Courtois. I think that put the whole world on notice.
Etihad game.
Oh, yeah, when he basically dinked it over Otamendi. He just had so many moments that put the whole world on notice. And it wasn't a surprise that a few years later, City would go on to grab him. He'd lead Algeria to AFCON glory. But that year right there, that's one of those years that I don't think anyone will forget about. And it's the year, in my opinion, that made Riyad Mahrez known as like, oh, he's that guy.
Criminally underrated, man, in greatness conversations. Has there ever been such a surprise factor we haven't seen? But that headed trio of Kante, Vardy, and Mahrez, just iconic, man.
I think he's one of the biggest bargains as well, too, in terms of a buy. What? They bought him for 500,000 from the Av. Like, that's crazy.
In that era of life as well, money was being spent them times. So to get him for that much.
And they sold him for 60-something million a few years later. That's crazy. What a player, man.